You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. This is Scotty Roberts. Welcome to my show. This is the Intrepid radio program right here on the Odyssey Radio Network. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. And, of course, if you're watching live right now, you're on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts. For those of you who catch this later or are somewhere else viewing this. And all of you there in the chat room tonight, if you are not a member of the channel, hit the join button. Join us. And thank you already for those who are. And if you're looking for who is a member of the channel, look for the little circle thing right after their name in the chat room. They're different colors for the different levels that they are. And you can see what the levels are and so on. You can ask them how taxing it is to be a member of this show. And so I want to thank you all that are members and everybody who's in the chat room now getting ready. Susie Q, good to see you. I'm glad you're here tonight. And one of my original members. So she goes way back with this program. So thanks. And good to see you. Barbie D, how you doing? I'm glad you're here tonight. And Steve Clark, howdy, sir. Down there in Kansas, good to see you. And I think that's all that's in the chat room at the moment. And so welcome to the chat room. People will start filing in, and I'll say hi to you all as you get here. And so just got off the phone with Rocky Stucci, as a matter of fact. And he's going to be back up here in the homeland again in October. And we're doing what we do every year in October. We're going out and doing the Renaissance Festival grounds for a paranormal investigation. Only this time what's different, he's got Ron Phillips with him. He and Ron do the, I always mess it up, the Abnormalities Radio. I can't even think of the name. Paranormal Abnormalities, Abnormal Realities. There it is, Abnormal Realities. And so they're going to be up here in October. And we're going to do the Renaissance Festival again. That's a show that Rocky and I have traditionally done every year out there. The festival will be over, but the grounds are still there, of course, and all the old buildings there. And it's on an old oak grove on top of a stone quarry. And the festival's been out there almost 50 years, something like that. And 35 to 40 years on that site, I think. And so we go out there. They do the feast, the Phantom's Feast out there. The guy who runs the Feast of Fantasy during the festival does the Phantom's Feast with a Halloween twist for the month of October. And so that's going to be going on. And so Rocky will be up here. We'll be together again doing that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And he's also going to be out at a little restaurant, old restaurateur that he knows over on the east side of St. Paul. And we're going to go to that as well the next night and do a little ghost hunting out in Swede Hollow. And so that'll be a lot of fun when he's up here the weekend of the 23rd of October. And Alexander the Ganja Shaman. Hey, man. Good to see you, man. I don't do the Haitian accent very well, the Caribbean thing. So welcome, Alexander. I don't know if you're somebody that I know under a different name. Sometimes people will do that. They'll come in under different names. I don't recall ever seeing you, Ganja Shaman. So glad to have you here tonight. And Ryan Gale, there you are. Good to see you. A lot of abnormalities at the Renfest. Ain't that the truth, Ryan? And so if you want to go to the Phantom's Feast, I'm sure there's going to be some advertisements up for that pretty soon. The tickets sell out for that thing all the time. If Ryan, you're more familiar with the festival Bad Manor, where they hold the Feast of Fantasy during the festival days, that's where they're going to hold the Phantom's Feast. And for several weekends. Hey, Dave Potter, Uncle Dave, Uncle Chef Dave, Chef Potter, Chef Dave. And Dave was over last night. We had a house full when I was doing radio last night, and I think they all came in here. So it was a very odd show. It's been an odd week for shows with visitations from people and people stopping in, and it throws us off track, but I hope you enjoy it. It's still fun. And so I don't think I have any scheduled visitors. Or Rainey might come in here to say hi, but she might not either. She's had a little off day today, so maybe she'll be there. And guess what? We are going to have a special guest tonight. Impromptu. It didn't make it into the ads, and we may or may not. We start off by saying he's going to come and visit us for a few minutes. He's got some things to say, but we may end up going the whole hour, and once again, we'll blow our agenda way out of the water. But that's cool because of who it is. Ruben Fast Horse is with us. He's out there in the wings. I see his smiling face out there. You pretty man, you. I can see you in the wings, and nobody else can see you yet. So I'm going to bring him in. I think we'll just bring him in right now. So, folks, here is my dear friend of 20 years, Ruben Fast Horse. How you doing, brother? Misu, little brother?
Well, little brother. Misu is the word for little brother, and he's my Chia older brother. So
big brother.
It's big brother. And
yes,
he is a big brother because he works his way, what he does, and he's got a beautiful wife. And
yes, I do.
Oh, I know Abby, and I know Brian.
Yes,
and oh my God, they're just so...
Bryn and Abby. You get thrown out. Bria's our neighbor who
they were just in. So yep, they're just little guys. They were just small.
Yeah, they were tiny. They're going to be 30 in January, by the way, just to make you feel older.
Can you believe that?
To make you feel a little older. My twin daughters will be 30. When they were in grade school, he was teaching them Lakota language. And Ruben lived with us for a while with his beautiful, his former wife. And I'm not sure if you had, you had the baby boy back then. So, but you were with us for a while.
But yeah.
Yes.
But you took care of me. You took care of me. And that was the best part is that
you took care of us. So.
Oh, God. But
that was a long time ago now. That was 20 years ago. It was 2001 when you came and lived with us. So.
And he taught me how to drink scotch.
I did. I think you could have picked that up on your own, but I taught you the ins and outs.
Ins and outs. We'd always have a cigar, and and we'll just sit and talk. And we talked like this. We talked like this. It was just
this was the period of time. Some of you've heard us say this before. We always recap, but this is what the period of time when Ruben became the man that I called my priest. We talked for hours every day. And I will say this too, by the way, when you were living with us at that house, that was the first time. I think you were the one who introduced me to taking my tarot cards and putting them out in the light of the full moon as the full moon was waxing for the night. And that's the first time I had done that. We all on that big front porch I had laid them all out on the front porch to soak up the moonlight as the moon was waxing full for the night. So
you're right. You're right there because moonlight graces everything silver. So
there you go.
Me and myself, necklace, rings, or something like that. You were a Baptist, as I
was. Prior to that,
prior to that, you changed yourself, and I think that's the whole premise of, the premise of changing self-discovery, yes. And you did that, and I love you. God will love you.
Oh, I love you too, brother.
And and you're not Republican anymore. You're
I am
self-oriented.
I was just describing that to somebody yesterday, They said, well, you're just a Republican. I said, well, let me correct you on that. I'm not Republican. I said, I am a small L conservative libertarian with a constitutional bent. And I said, making me somewhat of a Jeffersonian liberal. And so I told him, go look that up and you'll see what I am. So.
Very good. And myself being Native American, we never trusted the government. So
Right.
Republican, Democrat, we never, they fucked us over, you know, as
Yep.
Native Americans. So
Yep.
we don't trust. And my Jewish girlfriend, Susan, told me that you have to decide, because if you don't decide, you're going to choose the other way. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. You got everybody
smart
over
to
in the
do
chat
that.
room is saying hi to you, by the way. I'm
Oh,
putting them up on the
beautiful.
screen.
Please join me, Ruben Fast Horse, on my Facebook, and
Your Facebook page.
always talk to you. Yeah, I got a class. I do Lakota class. If you want to learn Lakota, 2 hours every Sunday, every other Sunday. But I'm in New York, Lakota, New York. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But Scotty's my brother. He's my big brother. T-Blow.
That's.
And I love him.
I got to tell you, that sounded almost like Mark Twain's a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. You've got a Pine Ridge Lakota in New York State. There you go. That's a new novel somewhere in there. So
crazy. But
there you are.
Scotty and I have been together for so long.
Yes, we have. It's you are my Misu. You're my brother. So it's amazing. And I always love talking to you. And when I saw you, Ruben messaged me about 15 minutes ago and said, what's the link to your show? I got something to say. And I'm like, all right, Misu, here it is. So I give you the floor. What do you got to say? What do you got to share with us tonight, Ruben?
Well, what was your episode that you wanted to say? I mean, your program.
Well, we're CHRISTO-PAGANISM, and we've been doing a little mini series on that. We've been thrown way off track for the last week, slowly getting through some of the material. Tonight, we were going to finish up prayer, meditation, energy, and magic as they pertain to both Christianity and paganism. And the whole point of this thing is to try to show that you can blend these things that have been historically at odds with each other. Tonight we were going to get into the wheel of the year and the sacred wheel and the holidays and things like that. Were you tipping back like what are you tipping back there, a gin bottle or vodka? Or that wasn't scotch, or was it water?
Vodka.
Oh, vodka. All right,
Fresca.
Be careful with that fire water.
Oh, yeah. Done. Over.
You know, we had, you remember John Anthony West? Old fellow, he wrote the book on the water and the Sphinx and stuff like that. He came on radio with John Ward and me several years ago. And he says, he comes on air and we go, how are you doing tonight, John? And he says, I'm doing great, guys. I got my tumbler of vodka here on the rocks, and I'll just keep refilling it as much as I need it. So he was drinking vodka through the whole show. So
no,
there you go.
No, nothing like that. But I'm going to say this to say that so everything that's happened in my life has been difficult as a Native American, and you know as well as I know. But when I met you, Chia, older brother, you took me in, and that changed everything. it changed everything because somebody wanted me to be important. And so you said, "Can you be a scout?" And I said, "Yes." And I went there.
That was for our historical reenacting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. And I met Eric Nilsson and.
Yep. Eric Nelson.
And
Ryan, who is in the chat room, and Dave Potter is in the chat room.
Yes.
Dave just said, "Hello,
God.
brother Ruben. How are you tonight?" So.
Oh God. Serious.
Yep.
Just so beautiful. Just so good. You know, and I'm sorry I've not met them in a long time, but also, you know, I know Arsène Dupont, who's a French magician that was out there when Snock and Puke.
Oh, Puke and Snot at the festival. Yep.
Yeah, they disappeared for a while, or they wanted some more money or some damn thing. But
well, one of them died. So, they changed the whole show over. So,
Arsène Dupont came on, and he's my friend now. He gives me tickets for the New York. It's starting next weekend. He's a magician here. He's come.
Oh yeah,
stayed in my house, and you know, he stayed over, and then we took him out to dinner and stuff like that. And it was really good. It was really good, and he gives us tickets every time in New York.
That's great.
Here. So,
how cool is that?
Talk about you. Oh God, yeah. But I talk about you, and I talk about you're the king. I can't believe
not anymore. I was never the king at the Renaissance Festival. I was a king at a small festival, not the big one. So I auditioned for the new king role once out there back in 2000, or about the time you and I met. And so I didn't get the role.
Now you're showing your age.
I'm glad I didn't get the role. They wanted kind of a roly-poly Burger King type of king who filled in for a couple of years out there. And then they've got, of course, John as the new king out there ever since. But the owner, every time he would bump into me out at festival, older gentleman, he's probably around 80 now, I would guess. But every time he'd see me at festival, he'd look at me from away. He'd be with his entourage, and he'd go, "The man who would be king." So that's what he called me ever since.
What about the Queen? The Queen.
Right now, I think the Queen is John's wife, and this is just shop talk, folks. Lolly, I think, was the Queen when you were out there last. So, and I haven't been at the festival since 2007 in a acting role. So it's a long time. That's 14 years ago.
Wow.
So
yeah. What? Yeah. I don't mean to bring bad things up, but I'm just saying that
nothing bad. Well, here's the deal.
Stop.
Well, here's the deal. I was out at festival for about 15 years in entertainment, doing what I was doing.
Right.
And I met Rainey out there. And Rainey and I, once we got serious in 2005. A bit of our history, as most people know who listen to any of my personal stuff. And once we were serious, the next year was coming along, 2006 season, and she said, "I don't want you to do Fest anymore." Now, she did Fest too.
Whoa.
But she said, "I don't want you to do Fest anymore." I said, "Why?" She said, "It's all about
she was
sex."
A Fest girl. She
said, "It's all about sex, drugs, and alcohol out there." And I said, "No, it's not. There's
promiscuous."
She goes, it's all about sex, drugs, and alcohol out there. I said, "No, it's not." She goes, "Name me something else." I go, "It's about Other things. No, actually, I had a pretty good answer, but she would prefer that I didn't go out there anymore. And then the next year, 2007, was when Tam O'Hare came out. And Carr invited me back to do a stage show 3 or 4 weekends that year at the Children's Theater doing readings from Tam O'Hare. And that, folks, if you remember the mask I showed you the other day, I think my kids made off with it. They shouldn't have, but it was hanging here. Dave Potter made the leather masks for that. We did Tam O'Hare on the stage. He did a sword fight from one of the climactic chapters toward the end of the book. So that was my last year out there altogether, was 2007. So
wow.
So Barbie D says this. I'm going to put it up so you can see it. Ruben, you are the first Native American I have for a friend, and I'm honored to know you, says Barbie D. There you go. Even though you're a little under the influence of the fire water tonight, you're still functional, so you're good. And that's fine. I can always tell when you've had a couple of sniffs. So and that's all right. I'm not saying it's a negative. I'm just saying we do it sometimes too on this show. We've done that. And like I say, you're in good company with the late John Anthony West, who would come on the show and have his vodka. So at least we're not trying to steal your land from you with it. So
nice.
There you go.
Scotty, I love you to death. It's awesome.
I love you, brother.
Oh, God. Jesus, Murphy. You know, we do what we do. I remember Saukville. Remember Saukville?
Yes. Saukville. Crossroads Rendezvous at Saukville, Wisconsin.
Oh, my God. It was so good. It was so good.
For good days.
There and serious.
Very good days.
And then that young man that would wear his kilt barefoot and dance, and he did that whole song with the you know, he just did the
it went just like that.
He just did, and it was the song from oh God, what was it?
Oh, you're talking about
Yes. Oh my God,
that
it
one.
was so good.
That
it was so
very
good.
folksy piece from Last of the Mohicans. Yeah.
Last
is
of
what
the
made that
Mohicans.
very popular.
I still religiously watch it. And it was so good. It was just, oh my God. And it was just so good. That was my best time in the world, being with you and Eric Nelson and all the guys.
Well, I want to get you to come out here again. I know you were just out here. You couldn't stop here, but you had to fly right past us and go out to Pine Ridge, where you grew up. Folks, Pine Ridge Reservation, if you're not familiar with it, became very much in the news back in the 70s when there was the standoff at Wounded Knee with Peltier and Dennis Banks and
Russell Means.
I'm trying to think of all the names. Russell Means.
Russell Means was also in with Wes Studi, Eric Schwag.
Yes, Wes Studi. Was Wes Studi out there?
He did.
Wes Studi, folks, you've seen him. If you don't know his name, you've seen him in a lot of movies. Wes Studi, the first time I saw him in the movies was Dances with Wolves. If you remember that movie, Wes Studi, I think he was he supposed to be Comanche? Pawnee. And he's the guy that raided the village. He was the mean Indian, they called him in that movie.
Yep.
And so that's Wes Studi. And I've seen him in a lot of. He was in Last of the Mohicans, and he was So Steve Clark got to
He
interview
won an
Dennis Banks
Academy
on that event.
Award. He won an Academy Award.
Oh, did he?
He's
For Last of the
only
Mohicans?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, not that, but he won an Academy Award for constantly being consistently a Native American
yes.
hero, villain, whatever. He just did
yes.
it.
He was in a I don't think it was just a movie. I think it was a series, a mini series, and I can't remember the character's name of the book or even the author. Coyote Speaks was one of the books. I'm trying to think of their novels. They were Native American novels written by a Native American man. His name is Tony Hillerman. Tony Hillerman was the author.
Oh, yeah.
And he wrote a series of novels. Folks, if you want to get into a good mystery novels, he wrote about Leaphorn was the name of the character. He was Captain Leaphorn or Sergeant Leaphorn. He was a reservation detective, like FBI, only reservation.
Right.
And,
right.
And they made a couple of movies, and Wes Studi was perfect. He played Leaphorn in it was either a series or a movie, and I can't remember which it was, but very good set of novels. Look up Hillerman's novels. They're all Native American based.
Tony Hillerman. Tony Hillerman. You'll find it.
Yep. By the way, I'm reading a book. I was going to recommend this to people here as I get a little deeper into it. You may have seen this one. I'm reading this thick tome right here. God's Red Sun, it's called. The Ghost Dance Religion and the Making of Modern America. And it's by Lewis S. Warren. And it's a thick one. But that's a book I'm deep into right now as well. So I alternate all the books on my stack. So anyway,
Scotty.
There we go.
Awesome. Scotty.
Hey, Elderberry, good to see you in the chat room. Who else wandered in? I thought I saw somebody else wander in. I didn't get a chance to say hey to. Scott Allen is there. Let's see. Start the show now. I have arrived, says Doug Stack. Good to see you, brother Doug. And so, everybody, welcome to the show. If I've missed you coming in and saying hi, we're deep in conversation with Ruben Faster. We're just talking tonight, just talking. And this was last minute, and so I said, yeah, come on, say hi to everybody and do your thing. So you got anything in particular? You said you wanted to share some thoughts tonight. You got anything in particular?
Just let me talk.
Okay.
I want to share a song, Scotty.
Please do.
Chia, he's my in Lakota, Sioux Indian, Standing Rock and Sitting Bull and Red Cloud and Crazy Horse. Scotty, I've known forever, and he's my, I take him as a brother, so I call him Chia. That's an Indian native way of saying Chia.
Well,
so
and by the way, you can't forget to mention Onspea Wagakea. That's the name you gave.
Do. Right. Do is the right way to say it in Lakota. And we are people from the Standing Rock and Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse and Red Cloud. So I'm going to sing the song for my brother.
All right.
Wakeya oya dewa maki papelo you. So it's my brother that sits in the west with the thunders, and he is here.
I
That's
have
it.
never had anyone sing a song for me before, and thank you, Ruben. It means a lot to me.
That's
That
it.
was beautiful.
That's it. Anyway, it's old anyway. So
Yes, it is.
thank you.
At least thank you for not standing naked and singing it like you do in the rain.
That's the same song when you stand naked in the
Oh.
rain, because you have to. You have to take off your
That's
socks
right.
and shoes, your clothes, and then stand in the rain and sing that song. And now you have that song. So
Yes.
it's
Somebody just
it's
Elderberry
it's
just asked if you were finished with that song. Is that the whole
yeah,
song? Okay, there it is.
that is that is.
I think
You
you've
have to
got your
sing it
camera.
4 times.
Your
4
camera, I think, is
times.
okay.
It's
Your
4
camera is
times.
pointing in a weird direction. We can't see your face. So anyway, Ruben, thank you for coming on. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to go into the topic for tonight. Thank you for the song. That was amazing. That was beautiful. I want to hear that again sometime. Rainey walked in the room. Maybe she'll say hi to you real quick before you go. If I move over
All right.
and make a little bit of room, there she is.
Hi. How you doing, Ruben?
Hey, I'm good.
Good.
All right.
Oh, well.
Always good to have you, brother. I'm glad you stopped by. It means a lot to me that you take your time and
You
do
and
that.
yours. You and yours.
Yes. All right,
All right.
Misu.
I'm go-
You
All
have
right,
a
I'm
good
done.
evening. All
You
right.
too.
See you, brother. I love you.
All right. I love you too.
I think we're gonna take him out of the studio. Kick guest. There you go. All right.
Hi, Roger Rabbit. Hi,
Hey,
Elderberry.
Roger Rabbit.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. I think sometimes, Ruben, just like John Anthony West did, he'll have his vodka while he's, and I think he's slowly falling asleep. But he contacted me 5 minutes before the show was on tonight and said, I got something important to say. And I think it was the song. And it took us a while to get to it, but there you go. My brother, Ruben Fasthorse. And yeah, it's very cool with Ruben. It always is. He's always got something good to say. So, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing.
Right on.
I was just gonna go check something on my
Okay.
computer. So if you want to hop into topic,
I'm gonna hop into topic.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Although I love having you here.
Yeah. Well, I just saw David. Her nose is fine. She did not break it.
Her nose is not broken, folks. Yeah. Rowan's nose is not broken. They were at the hospital for a couple hours waiting to get in.
We're at the doctor's office.
Oh, doctor's office. Yeah, they had to wait. It's never busy until you got to go there.
Yeah. Well, the ER wouldn't have been busy, but our insurance, last I heard, possibly will not cover your ER visit unless it's an actual emergency.
I think a broken nose can be an emergency. On a little kid.
Do you want to find out?
Yeah. No, I think it's covered.
All right. All right.
So
have a good night, everybody.
Bye, Rainey.
Bye, Scott.
Come here.
No.
Yeah, come here.
No, I already walked
Come
over
here.
here. I already walked over here.
Oh, like 6 feet away from me.
I'm standing at my desk.
If I reach over, I could almost touch you from here.
No, you can't.
Oh, I was going to give her little smooches too. Sometimes you don't have to bleep her hard because that's not the right thing to do.
You don't need to sing that song.
Sometimes you gotta make some love.
Oh my God.
And give her some smooches too. That's what I was getting at, that line.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. Little Jack Black, tribute to Jack Black and Tenacious D. All right, folks, we're back on track here now. Shut down, says Roger Rabbit. Yeah, I was shut down. I was just shut out. I didn't get a smooch on the cheek or nothing. What's with that, world?
The world's not answering.
I didn't get.
It doesn't care.
I didn't get a smooch on the cheek or nothing. I was rejected tonight.
Denied. You were denied.
It makes me feel so bad, Rainey.
That's too bad. I really don't care.
Is what you're doing so important? I see everything else is so much more important to you. Fine, you don't have to give me smooches. I don't want smooshes. Yeah, she's dumping her trash emails. So there you go. Sorry, Puddin' Pops. There it is. Poor Scotty, says Steve Clark. So shut down.
I just want you to know that I love myself.
Rainey loves herself. There you go. Yeah. She's taking care of self over there.
Yes.
So she walked off without giving me a smooch, and it's okay. I'll deal.
Yes.
I'll deal. I understand. No, you do whatever you do whatever you want.
I am. I will.
And see, now if those roles were reversed, she goes, I don't care. You do whatever you want. And if I did it, I'd be in trouble. So you know how it goes.
Already. Did you make that eye doctor appointment for Ellie today?
No, I didn't get a chance.
See, you're in trouble.
So I thought about it though. First thing I thought was, you're sitting in the waiting room for 2 hours, but you're asking me over here designing book covers
My
to
phone, the speaker doesn't work, so I have everything on speaker versus up to my head. So I could make phone calls, but then everyone's going to listen to both sides of the phone calls.
Dave Potter says she didn't deny me when I left last night. Barbie D says, Rainey, give Scott that smooch.
No.
Yeah, come on.
No.
I smell pretty and everything.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I do. Let's see. Roger Rabbit. I'm keeping rejections tally 1 point, Scotty. Well, that's actually a point for Rainey. Is it a point for Rainey or me? I don't know. I'll just turn her down next time.
Yeah, right, you will. You wouldn't deny me if I asked.
Deny me, Scotty. Deny me. I can. I can be resistant.
No, you can't.
I am resistant to your wiles. No, you're not. Come over here right now and tempt me. I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. So.
Here.
I'll be right back, folks.
See, I have been denied.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Rainey. That helped me feel better about not getting smooched. Folks, I'll let your imaginations run wild on that one. Let's get into our topic for tonight, shall we? Yeah. You quiet over there on your neck of the woods. I don't want to talk to you. So, talk to the hand.
Whatever.
So, all right, folks. There's Ruben was a last minute surprise, so there's a couple of things I was going to do that I'm not going to do tonight. But let's get into topic. How about that? We're at 9:39, and we're going to kind of jump into this. I have this all metered out, so this would take a whole episode to do this stuff. So we may have to spill over a little bit into tomorrow with this topic. Tomorrow's Thursday already. But there were a couple of things left to say about the prayer, the meditation, the energy, and the magics, and how they all combine in the Christo-Pagan sense. And remember, when you're looking at this, you've got to get out of your head that there is a dogmatic way to think about Christianity, or a dogmatic way to think about paganism, because they don't always work. They don't mesh. They've been at war with each other since the time of Christ. And so I think one of the dangers with religion is when religion... What do you got there?
Nothing.
When religion becomes something that you're so entrenched into that there's no room to think outside the box. Our way or the highway is the problem that we face. Yep, that did it, Steve Clark. You're right. So prayer is a thing that's agreed on by both sides. It's a vital way of connecting to the divine and wrapping up this idea about prayer and meditation and so on. The means and the methods of prayer detailed are used by both faiths, connecting with the divine. And it's whatever is loving is God. And whatever is not loving is sin, in the sense of missing the mark or failing to live into the best possible future that God's calling us all into. So prayer is seen by both pagans and Christians as multifaceted tools for spiritual growth that includes praise and thanks and intercession and contrition within its boundaries. Magic, the intentional forces of energy to achieve a desired result, can be likened to a kind of intercession that offers up the energy of the person praying as a kind of sacrifice. Remember when we do tarot readings and every now and then we get the magician card? The magician is the person who creates the magic or the spell, figuratively speaking, by harnessing the energies around them. When you have the magician card, you are the person who can take all these elements around you and create what you need to have happen. It's natural magic. And so magic's the intentional focus of energy. It's intentional. You got a goal with it. It's not like, I think I got to follow this recipe. I need Eye of Newt. Oh yeah, and a pitch of wolfbane. Yada yada. That's not magic. Well, it's a kind of magic, but it can be likened to intercession, magic, that offers up the energy of the person praying as a kind of sacrifice. While in Christian thought, Christ is the ultimate sacrifice. The idea of austerity, of sacrifice granting merit, is historically a part of Christianity as well as other religions. The monastics gave up a lot in pursuit of God, didn't they? They gave up their whole life in pursuit of God. And in doing so, many of them were counted as miracle workers. And even the most humble of believers can aid others around them through intercessory prayer. And magic seems to be a ritualized form of intercession when divine aspects are invoked. Caution always has to be taken to not attempt to force a certain result. The universe is bigger than we are, and we can't know the outcomes of a given action. Remember last night I gave the illustration of when I went to court for custody of my children. I asked for there to be, I did a spell, which was intentional magic, intentional intercession, intentional asking. And I did the spell to say, not help me win, God. I put out the intention, said, let the judges see the truth. Let them see justice. Let them render judgment in accordance with what is right and good. And that was what I asked for when I did that spell of, and this was 20 years ago I did this. So you have to take caution, not to try to force a result, but to place it out there and call on the divine. Both pagan and Christian agree on this point. Whether it's called magic or prayer, both faiths teach that we may ask, but we have to take no for an answer as well. Why? Because in part, what we're asking for might not actually be in our best interest. And in part because, even though we think it is, the lucky rabbit's foot God, when we come to prayer, the things that we ask for, is it in our best interest? And in part because everybody involved in all the situations we pray about has free will. And God can and does lure us. He woos us. And he pleads with us to do what's right. But the final earthly decision is ours in this theology of Christo-Paganism. And as such, there's always the possibility that things aren't going to turn out the way we want them to turn out. But we have to be prepared for that. But there's also the idea of visualization and intention and putting it out there and manifesting. So Steve Clark says, I stay outside the box and watch the chaos inside the box. It's pretty much about the only way to do it. The box is a pit of wild animals these days, says Roger Rabbit. So the best spiritual practice for magic or intercession is thus to draw near to God. And having done whatever one can to promote love, trust in God for the final outcome. Remember, God, I'm not speaking of the old man with the white beard in the sky that we get pictured in our heads. It's been lodged there for centuries. God is the divine, the creator, the originator, if you will. We have to draw near to God. And note that we, the word we, is way bigger than you and I. There are over 6 billion people on this planet. And each one's trying to create a best outcome for themselves. We all have our lives to live. We all have our families to take care of in one sense or another. We all have our own interests. And it'd be hubris to say that I create my reality. I don't agree with that BS. That's B as in B, S as in S. We don't create our reality. In fact, I can only contribute to creating of reality. I contribute to it. I don't create it. Since everyone else and everything else on the planet plays a role in contributing to the creating of reality. Energy is understood as the power of intention. It's something that science is beginning to understand, but which is always larger than the individual due to the fact that the divine moves in and through all things, ourselves too. And so connecting, and by the way, when I'm talking about the divine, please, like I just mentioned, getting the picture of God, the stereotypical picture out of your head, get the idea out of your head what we've been taught. Because what we've been taught isn't always so. So you have to understand something that's larger than the individual due to the fact that the divine moves in through all things. And so connecting to this infinite energy is the object of most religious practice. What is religion? Religion is man's attempt or humankind's attempt to find God, to reach out to God. And when we realize the extent to which we live and move and have our being within this infinite energy, that's how in many ways a sign of enlightenment or theosis in the Greek comes to us. And at the end of the day, our lives are going to have good and bad. There's going to be good things that happen to us, bad things that happen to us. Things we can control and things we can't change. Our emotional response to all of these is conditioned by the extent to which we feel that we're in harmony with God and the universe. Something which is in turn conditioned by how deeply and routinely we engage in our own personal religious practices. Do you believe what you say you believe? Taking us back almost 2 years on this show. Thus, the practice of religious life, it's critical for our own spiritual and our own emotional well-being, in addition to being an effective way to celebrate our understanding of God and life. That's what religion is supposed to be. And in this understanding, and Steve says, I try to do things for the betterment of mankind worldwide. And we all, I hope, have that at the core of some of the things that we do, most of the things we do. Sometimes we're locked in, I have to do for the moment. I've got to take care of my family. I've got rent to pay or mortgage to pay. I've got the grass to mow. I've got the carburetor to change in my old truck. I've got school to drive my kids to. I've got this. I've got that. I've got the other thing. We've got to get groceries. We've got to take care of the electric bill. We got to entertain ourselves. I got to take my wife on a date. All these things are those temporal things. But if we really believe what we say we believe, we wrap all of this stuff into bettering the world around us. Lucky Stone says, your beliefs are not a threat upon my point of view. I create my reality by how I react to the situation. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your reaction to the problem. Well said, Lucky Stone. Very well said. Dave Potter says, I'm the old man with the white beard in the sky. He is. You've seen him right here on this show. So all of that is taking us over into this new topic now, which we've only got about 10 minutes or so to hit for tonight. But I think it's a lighter, easier topic to cover. It's the Wheel of the Year, which is a pagan concept that celebrates the natural cycles of the Northern Hemisphere, along with additional festivals drawn from the Western, mainly British culture, where much of the modern paganism began. Various Reconstructionist groups in paganism have their own holy days. And so what I'm going to talk about here might not apply to Christo-pagans seeking to blend Christian practice with a specific branch of paganism. However, for the Wiccans or the eclectic rooted in Christo-pagans, this calendar works pretty well. And this is different from all the other stuff we've talked about, in that what I'm going to present here are brief descriptions of the combined major holy days, rather than all the varied perspectives on these things, all the different theologies that have been poured into them. Primarily, this is because the rituals themselves are where the theology takes place. And we've been spending a whole series on Christo-pagan ritual, which will go into in depth now for the theology of each holy day. Not too deep, just superficially in depth. Maybe that's double talk. I'm not going to get too deep. We're not going to spend an episode on every one of these, so to speak. But that's something else we can do another time. Let's look at some of these. Yule or Christmas, that's December 21st to the or the 25th, however you look at it. This is one of the two most important days blended in the blending of the Christo-pagan calendar. As the solstice on the 21st of December, it celebrates the return of light into the darkness of winter. It's kind of funny up here. Those of you who live up here, I know Dave Potter lives here. Ryan Gale lives here. We have some people in the chat room that live up in the Great White North here. December 21st, you're just barely getting into winter. Now, we'll sometimes have that end of October blizzard, but for the most part, November-ish, you start getting out of the cold, bare branches and into the ice and snow. And by the time Christmas comes around, or you say the solstice on the 21st, that's the shortest day of the year. So what's happening on the 22nd? Days are already getting longer. We always say on the 21st, the 22nd, it's all downhill from here to spring. But the harshest part of winter is January and February up here. It's when it gets 30 below zero. And so, when I was in Louisiana, I left Minnesota on January 27th. Most of the month of February was in the sub-zero category up here. But it is the shortest day of the year on the 21st. And it's the welcoming of the light, re-welcoming light and the slide into spring and warm weather again. And at Christmas celebrates the birth of the light of God. That was the correlation there. Given that the Christian festival was created out of the pagan events of the season. So there's so much overlap with the celebration. You keep the light and the hope as central themes. That's why early Christianity borrowed the pagan winter solstice, the returning of the light, or the welcoming of the light that will warm the world. Light and hope as central themes. Imbolc is the next holiday. That's February 2nd. And this festival celebrates the births, happening in the livestock that would keep farmers going for another year. It's also deeply associated with Brigid, the Celtic goddess of smiths, blacksmiths, and fire and crafting. She was so popular that she became synchronized into Christianity as, guess who? Saint Bridget, or Brigid, B-R-I-G-I-D, Saint Bridget, and as the patroness of these crafters, her feast day is interwoven here. And in many ways, Bridget is also a patron of Christo-Pagans, since she is both goddess, pagan goddess, and Christian saint. She's pagan and Christian. So if you never knew that, Imbolc is really the same as St. Bridget's Day. Lent is the next one. Beginning 40 days before Easter, excluding Sundays, this is a time to reflect on what's holding you back from God and to engage in study, sacrifice, and other acts of change. That's a Christian thing. Lent is for self-reflection. You're supposed to also be giving up something to show God you're willing to sacrifice. To me, it sometimes comes across very petty, but there are some people who genuinely do this. Yeah, Roger Rabbit, I was stuck down. When I was heading down from here at the end of January to go down to North Carolina to get my son, then to go on to Louisiana. I was following the edges of that blizzard, and it hit, and I had to stay in a hotel. It was just a couple of miles away from Roger and Carly and Kinsey, and we couldn't make it work for the next morning, so I didn't get to see them, but I was literally off the same exit as their home. So, but we didn't get a chance to get together. So at the same time as Lent, you've got Ostara, or Easter. That varies. The spring equinox marks another turn of the season, and it's the highest holy day in the Christian calendar. The resurrection of Jesus, the triumph of his message of love and peace, despite the power of human oppression. And it's celebrated on Easter o Ostara by the return of all life from the cold clutches of winter. So while you saw Christmas is the same as Yule, it's that welcoming the light into the world and the warmth of the light. And you see it in Jesus, the birth of Jesus. Ostara, which is celebrated by pagans, is the return of all life from the cold clutches of winter. In Christianity, it's the return to life of the Son of God, the great sacrifice. Beltane is next. That's May 1st, and Pentecost, 50 days after Easter. So this holiday celebrates the fertility of the land and the people. And depending on the year, it might fall close to Pentecost, which is the Christian festival of the beginning of the church. So the fertility, that's when the Holy Spirit came down as little flaming tongues over the heads of the apostles, and they all spoke in tongues, and they all, this was the launch of Christianity after the resurrection of Jesus. Pentecost. It's 50 days after the resurrection of Jesus, when we celebrate it anyway. And Beltane is May 1st. And so it's this festival for the church. It's a festival for pagans. It celebrates the fertility of the land, the launching of new life, new beginnings. And so Pentecost was placed on that same holiday. Midsummer, around June 20th, the longest day of the year, the opposite of course, December 21st. It celebrates the light, even as it acknowledges the return of darkness. It's the longest day of the year, but the next day, the 21st of June, is what? It's the beginning of the slide into the darkness of winter. So it's the opposite. So it celebrates the light in midsummer, while at the same time, it's acknowledging darkness is coming. Then you have Lammas on August 1st, the three of harvest festivals, the first three of the harvest festivals, the festival of grain and harvest, celebrated with fresh bread and another syncretic celebration adopted by the Christian church when it took over the Celtic lands. Mabon, around September 21st, you're into the autumn now. Second of the 3 harvest festivals, celebrated in the autumn equinox, when light and dark are in perfect balance. It celebrates the ingathering of fruit and other harvest items. So if you wondered, these equinoxes in the middle of the solstices, June 21st to December 21st, and in the middle you got September 21st. It's the middle, it's the balance. Then you have Samhain, October 31st. It's the last of the harvest festivals. It's often when the animals were killed, they were prepared for storage for the winter, and historically a time when the living and the dead were closest, and the veils between the two parted, or were the thinnest. It's a historically time when a variety of ancestor rituals took place alongside the harvest celebrations. All Souls Eve and All Saints Day are the Christianized versions of these celebrations. The Americanized version is Halloween, commercial version of All Saints Day, All Souls Eve, All Hallowed Eve. And if you never made that connection before, hallowed, holy, it's All Hallowed Eve. It's Halloween, E''E''N, evening. It's Hallow evening. So that's that one. Then you have Advent. This is 40 days before Christmas, including Sundays. And this is a reverential season in preparation for the birth of Christ celebration at Christmas time. And it's a season of expectation, hope, and celebration. This is strictly a Christian holiday. Then you have minor holiday days, holy days, holiday, holy day. Throughout the Christian world, there are a number of feast days, celebrations, sacramental occasions, depending on the time of the year and the culture. And while the days above are all historical festivals celebrated by Christians and pagans, and that form of the main holy days of both faiths, there's no reason why Christo-pagans can't celebrate other holy days as well. So many churches or covens celebrate their founding day. Others celebrate the feast day of their patron saints or their deity figures. As my Scottish heritage, we had St. Andrew's Day. November, I think it's 11th, is St. Andrew's Day. It's the patron saint of Scotland that we celebrate. I remember my pastor 25 years ago, Parson Larson. He had me wear my kilt to church and get up and talk a little bit about All Saints Day. All Saints, St. Andrew's Day. So one such day that seems very appropriate is the Feast of St. Francis, and this is held on October 4th of every year. As the Christian patron saint of animals and ecology, he offers an important Christian example of caring for the earth. And traditionally, animals are brought and blessed during this service, thanking them for their presence in our lives, asking God to watch over them in the year to come. And this is one example of a lesser holy day feast that could be given greater place in a Christo-pagan gathering. And the ritual calendars of Catholic, Orthodox, or Anglican churches offer hundreds more saintly examples, while local churches might add celebrations that are important to their understanding of who they are as a community. So we have all of this stuff. So I'm going to say this. Here is here's the end of our official Christo-pagan. I'm going to call it the beginning of the end. In the beginning of these lessons that I've been teaching, if you can call it that, it's teaching, these presentations I've been making on Christo-paganism, I claimed that to be a Christian, you had to take Jesus and the Bible very seriously. You can't be a Christian without those two things. And while to be a pagan, you had to take the earth and the divine feminine seriously. As syncretic practitioners in Christo-paganism, we seek to hold the important core of both those faiths and link them together. And so I hope that this initial foray that I've given you in this little mini series on Christo-Paganism has offered some ideas and insights for how serious, devoted people can deepen their spiritual growth while claiming both religions and both religious traditions as their own. This is just the beginning of a Christo-Pagan theology. It's not the end of it. So, despite a lot of the breaks we had and some of the minor rabbit trails we took over the last week or so, that is pretty much my basic presentation on Christo-Paganism. It's not so far-fetched to think that you can take these two opposing views and theologies and blend them. And so I encourage you to look into them. I'm not trying to proselytize anybody to believe anything. I'm not even fully given over to all of this, to anything. I'm still fairly agnostic. But I do recognize the originator and God. I do recognize Jesus Christ. I question things about all of it. And so when you can blend the earth religion with the Christian religion, I think you're going to see some amazing things happen. And then you have to reconcile that with God on your own. And that's where I think that's a good prayer. Something really good to put out there when you pray and meditate is help me do the right thing with this. And ask God for knowledge, for wisdom, for insight, and all of those things. So thank you, Barbie D. I appreciate that. Very informative, she says. Steve Clark, very interesting topic. I think there's a lot of things to think about in all of this, guys. All right, so that pretty much at 10:08 p.m. Central Standard Time brings us to a close on this particular series. I might hit a couple of other things on this as we go on. We won't spill this episode over into tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, Thursday night, I have something new to talk about. And I got some great stuff to talk about. Believe me, I have no end of topics. So, Roger Rabbit says, thank you, Scotty. You're so welcome. Roger says, this has opened my eyes to ways I can use this topic to help blend my beliefs with those more rooted directly in the old school church my family's come from. I think I can use this to help. All I would say, and the advice I would give to anybody when you're looking into this and want to think about it, is put it out there to God. Put it out there to the goddess. Put it out there. And of course, me being agnostic, I'm not sure any of it exists. Not sure. Not an atheist. I don't disbelieve it. I'm just not sure. But remember when I read, was it last night or the night before, what astrophysicist Richard Feynman said about belief? He says, I've believed all different kinds of things in my life. And he's a scientist, by the way, on the level of Oppenheimer and Einstein and all of those guys. Contemporary with them. And he said, I've thought about all kinds of things. I believed any number of things. He says, the only thing I wanted to make sure of is that all the things that I say I believe, I didn't want to come to the end of my life and find out I believed the wrong things. So beware of people that will tell you they have a corner on everything that's right and true and good. I'm not sure that's possible. I'm not even sure that's the way it was meant to be. We'll talk more about this. So everybody, thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for being part of my life. Thanks for being part of this show. I appreciate it. And why does my thing say it's showtime, go live? I've been live this whole time, right? There's a button up here that says go live. Did I turn us off at some point? Are you all hearing me out there still? I've got a button that says go live. Like I'm not live right now. That's kind of scaring me. Something got shut off along the way. You all out there? We're closing the show. Yep, you're still here. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for acknowledging that. I got a little worried. My little button at top says go live. Doesn't tell me to shut off the show. So that's very interesting. All right, guys. So there it is. Thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow night. And remember, as always, live long and prosper. And now I'm supposed to shut off the show, but there's no off button. An error occurred. It tells me I can't go live. So I don't know what's happening here, folks, with my engineering. But according to this, I'm not live, so I can't take the show offline. So we'll just end it here. And let's see what happens when I push this button. Boom. Now it says I'm live. How about that? So now let's end the broadcast. Live long and prosper.